Call the meeting to order. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence. Can you see it? Alright, everyone received their minutes of last month's meeting. Any additions or corrections? I will make a motion to accept the meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Treasurer's report, everyone should have received their treasurer's reports. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Alright, I will make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as received. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'm almost done.
Alright, so, we were given bills voucher 1 through 31. Does anyone have any questions on the bill?
For testing and clear, 1902. Liverpool Carport Unit Servicing Closet.
Sorry, we're just doing a quick re-ed.
I got the same.
Clear,
Alright,
1902.
I got the same.
102,
Okay.
30, 24.
I'll give
Okay.
you the time.
Alright, so if nobody has any questions, I'm going to make a motion to pay vouchers 1 through 31 for a total of $102,030.24. This does have a few payments in here for our VIP and CS Arch, which is, and Diamond and Theo, which is part of the Station 3 build, so that's why it's a little bit higher than normal. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is for Rick or Tony.
I'll abstain on this one.
Okay. Rick,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Casey.
Yes.
Did not have any communications this month, so we can move right on to commissioners' reports. Administration, because Megan and myself, anybody else? Just Joanne? Oh, and Joanne. She was in the
And-
department?
Have you gotten the sexual harassment policy read?
It doesn't matter. Rick's gonna read the sexual harassment policy to Megan and I because we do not attend the actual fire department meetings to have it read to us.
Sexual harassment policy procedure. It is unlawful to harass a person, an applicant or employee because of the person's sex. Harassment can include sexual harassment or unwanted sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical harassment of a sexual nature. Harassment does not have to be of a sexual nature, however, and can include offensive remarks about a person's sex. For example, it's illegal to harass a woman by making offensive comments about a woman in general. Both victim and the harasser can be either a woman or a man, and the victim and harasser can be the same sex. The Northwest Fire District will not tolerate sexual harassment. A copy of the Northwest Fire District sexual harassment policy can be found in the radio rooms at each fire station. The necessary forms to file a report with the district can be found in each radio room as well. There is also an icon on each computer's desktop where the forms can be printed. To file a report, you need to contact Sean Dunlap at sdunlap@bonesvillefire.org or 315-380-2392, Roxanne Perkins, RPEMT @hotmail.com, or 315-569-6091, or Alex Bogowich at alexbogowichsunco.com or 315-561-1632. Do not contact any commissioner to file a complaint All reports must be filed with one of the 3 individuals listed.
Thank you.
That'll qualify for anybody in this room who has not read that.
Rick, just an FYI, his email address has changed. He's not at Sunoco anymore because the Sunoco plant was bought by Addis,
Oh, it's at ATT1.
yeah, ATTIS or something like
I think I have it in my contacts, we'll have to
You
update
do.
that. Thanks.
that. No.
Yep.
All right, next on the agenda is the Northwest Fire District mandatory training policy. The training policy was brought up last month and read. This is in regards to what happens if you do not take your mandatory training, and what steps will be taken if that does occur. Does any of the commissioners have any questions on that policy, anything that they want to change, add? No. All right, so I'm going to take a vote, make a motion to adopt the mandatory training policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ooh, which one you got it?
Chris. Quicker than that.
Tony?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Casey?
Yes.
And then, next on the agenda is RTP 1755 for $420.88. It is for Chris Courier's mandatory commissioner training that he's going to be taking at Turning Stone, March 27th to the 29th. So I will make a motion to approve RTP 1755 for $420.88. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, next on the agenda is the chief's policy. So we have been continuing to work on the updated chief submission/election policy. All of the commissioners have received the updated edition, but I am going to read it out loud. Chief submission/election. The policy describes the submission and election process for the district chief, district deputy chief, and the 3 district assistant chief positions for the Northwest Fire District. The 3 district assistant chief positions will cover 3 specific geographical areas of the fire district known as zones. Zone 1 area will be the district line at the northernmost point continuing south to Hankel Boulevard. Zone 2 will be from the Seneca River and Marble Street continuing south to the district boundary at O'Brien Road. And Zone 3 will be from Hankel Boulevard continuing south to the Seneca River at Marble Street. Any Northwest Fire District member meeting the qualifications for district chief, deputy chief, and/or assistant chief as defined by the Northwest Fire District Policy Number 4 may submit a letter of intent for the upcoming year. District members who meet the qualifications for any of the chief positions but live outside of the district boundaries will be allowed to run as long as they reside within a mile or less from the Northwest Fire District line. Letters of intent for district chief, deputy chief, and/or assistant chiefs are to be submitted directly to the district secretary by October 1st. District members submitting for an assistant chief position must live in a zone that they are running for, or in the case of an out-of-district member who meets the criteria spelled out in Section 2, they would be allowed to run for the assistant chief zone in which they are closest to their resident. Should there be no qualified candidate running in an assistant chief zone, the Board of Fire Commissioners will notify the district membership, and then any qualified candidate may run in that position for that open zone regardless of where they live. Qualified interested candidates would need to submit their intent to run on that open zone to the district secretary via letter or email by November 1st. The Board of Fire Commissioners will validate the qualifications of each applicant for all positions. The list of positions with all qualified candidates for each position will be posted at each station at least 2 weeks prior to the election. The election of the district chief, deputy chief, and 3 assistant chiefs positions will occur on the first Saturday in December, beginning at 9 a.m. Eligible voters for this election will be active level 1, 2, and 3 members of each district department. A list of eligible voters will be provided to the Board of Fire Commissioners no later than 7 days prior to the election by each of the department secretaries. Absentee ballots will be allowed for the district chief vote only. This is to accommodate those who cannot make the election due to work hours, class attendance, or military duty only. Those requesting an absentee ballot should contact the district secretary, Miga Metello, with her email address. Absentee ballots need to be placed in a sealed envelope with district chief election written on the front. Completed ballots must be placed in the district mailbox at Baldwinville Station 1 by 6 p.m. the night prior to the election, or your vote will not be counted. Elections will start with district chief position first, followed by deputy chiefs, and then the assistant chiefs by zone, sorry. Individuals not eligible to vote in the chief's elections are as follows: inactive life members, probationary firefighters, Rams or junior firefighters, or any firefighter with less than the minimum call percentage, Baldwinsville 7.5 and Lysander 10%. This is based on the alarms from January 1st through November 15th of the current year. In the event of deputy chief and or any assistant chief election ties, the final decision will be made by the district chief elect. So, we realize that this is going to be, cause a little bit of disruption for Lysander, only because we had to pick a date, and we're limited by law of what dates we can pick, and figured the first Saturday just made it the easiest, so we are going to talk with Ty, and just let her know that, we had to do this for these reasons at 9 o'clock, and we know that you guys usually have yours, first Saturday, so we figured you guys could just do yours right afterwards, even if you wanted to do that here while you guys are all here, we could do that. Any questions or anything from the commissioners?
The one comment I think that somebody might ask is, why does Baldwinsville need 7.5% and Lysander need 10? And there's an answer for that.
It's based on the law.
Based on law, that's the reason. But anything over a call volume of what? 500 is 7.5, that's why Lysander's at 10 and Baldwinsville's 7.5. That's not an arbitrary number, that's just the law.
What was the November date, Becky?
On November 1st was October 1st was for all letters to be into us. We will verify qualifications, and then if there is a open chief zone because there is no qualified member, then by November 1st they have to have their letter of intent in for that zone to run for. Call volume, yes. So call volume was January 1st through November 15th of the current year.
You said no probationary members?
Mm-hmm.
Lysander doesn't have probationary members in their
Correct,
bylaws.
so you don't have an
And you
issue.
don't have to worry about it.
Okay. I'm just asking, so we get there and they say, well, he can't because he's only been in.
Yeah, no, you
6
said
months.
before, you don't have probationary members, but Baldwinsville does, so it's just to clarify that piece of it.
So when this changes, obviously you guys are gonna drop a chief overall. Now, so when
Can you hold
Northwest,
your comments until the
Oh,
public?
yep.
Thank you. Yeah, so we can vote tonight if you want to, or we can leave it in. This is the second time it's been brought up.
Right.
Quite honestly, Commissioner, it's been worked on for about a year and a half. It's not new, it's not something that's been crammed down anybody's throat. It's been scrutinized inside and out, upside down. I think it's been talked about, worked out, considering the changes and everybody's vested interest in this. I think you're there.
And I'm good if somebody wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to adapt the new chief's policy, policy number 4A.
Do we have a second?
One second.
When's the effective date of that?
It would go into effect for this coming election for 2020.
Tony,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Casey.
Yes.
I make it changes that you already did. Thanks.
So good.
You're on top of stuff. Okay, that was all I had for administration. Financial report, the only thing that we are currently working on is with Municipal Solution to go out to, for the BAN, coming up at the end of March, correct, Joanne?
Yes.
End of March we're going out, and we should have it by April 2nd, for the remaining balance of the money for the Station 3 that was already approved. I think that's all I have right now. So, Tony, truck maintenance?
Yeah, I have a couple things. Talked to Casey Pickard today, and he reviewed the awards. I'm sorry, he reviewed the truck maintenance contract that we received the bid on. Case, can you comment on that for me?
I did go through it. It was, we had one person get it in on time and bidder, so that was Jerome Fire. I did go through it and it did meet our specs. I feel that it's the right way to go at this point for our vehicle maintenance. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the proposal that Jerome Fire Equipment put in place.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Tony,
I recuse myself from this vote.
Rick,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Casey.
Yes.
Okay, some other business. I have a couple RTBs that need to be addressed. For Lysander engine 1, primer pump not working, RTP 1620, approximately $400. And the second RTP is for the Ford pickup to Nobles for approximately $900. That was, unfortunately, the AC pump was not working, which created a problem with the serpentine valve, which created a problem with everything else. So we actually had no choice on that. So I'd like to, if possible, would you be opposed to voting on 1620 for 400 to Jerome on that RTP, and then 1756 to Nobles for approximately 900. I'd like to make that an emotion, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Sorry.
Okay.
You're ready.
Thank you. Last piece, we received, I turned in an RTP, and I'm drawing a blank on the number, about a month or two ago, to go ahead and move forward with the PMs once the contract was approved. So I just, Chief, we're gonna schedule them rather aggressively, probably 1 to 2 a week, right through till they're done. And that during the PM, it'll be the New York State inspection, the pump test, and the ladder test if it requires, or the ladder PM if it requires that. I'll make sure that I'll communicate with you, but the plan is, once I meet with the scheduler this week, I'll schedule the first 2 and I'll let you know. And typically, what kind of turnaround time? They'll pick one up, they'll finish it, they'll drop that one off, and pick up the second one, and et cetera. But I'll make sure I work with you hand in hand to make sure it doesn't affect the operation.
Can we have them look at some of the ERTs that we?
Well, yeah, that's, we had to do the PM, and then anything over the PM, I have to get approval for, but yes, the answer is yes. Yes, the answer is, we'll have them looked at and estimated and figure that out. Other than, and I don't see this, just wanna look, double check. do we talk about here, the lighting package on the third rig here, on the third chief's vehicle?
What is that?
Or do we-
New business.
Okay, then I'm done. Thank you. What's that, sir? Okay, so, I was contacted by a department, a lieutenant out of a career department out of Ohio.
No, I didn't say the sale, the light on the back, do we have to talk about that for maintenance?
Not till the PM's done.
Okay,
I thought you said the sale.
no, sorry.
Got new
Sorry.
hearing aids.
Evidently she did too, sorry.
I got new hearing aids and I'm trying to figure the things out.
Sorry. I meant the light on the back.
Okay. So you're good with truck maintenance?
Yes.
Okay. Building and grounds, Jack.
Assuming everybody got that third quote there for heat and cool solution.
Yep.
So I'd like to at least get this one going unless you wanna do the upstairs too at the same time, unless you wanna wait on that.
So, I guess what I wanna know is your opinion on it, because, well, Isaac only did the upstairs, right?
Yeah, they're not doing any repair work at this point.
So that's really not complete compared to the other ones, right?
You're right.
Did you look at them and do you have a recommendation? Because to me, I'll be honest with you, it's Greek to me, so.
Pretty much they're, which one you wanna start? You wanna do the repair first? Which one you wanna talk?
Get the air conditioning working.
Repair was pretty much the same, the heat cool solutions, they were a little high on the prevailing wage price than, Klein Heating was, so. They were at prevailing wage for the replacement was $19,688. It's down at the bottom.
Right. Is that for everything, that 19?
That's for the repair of this, for this room.
So that has nothing to do with the upstairs?
No.
Okay. Is that what the ductless is?
Ductless is for the upstairs.
Is the upstairs?
Yes.
So if we added these two, that would be their total?
If you did the, which one?
The 72 and, well,
No, it would be the.
you gotta add the prevailing wage,
Right,
right?
it'd be the
93 and the 19.8,
Yeah,
which is gonna put them way above Klein, right?
yes.
Okay.
And Isaac was only, they were at 98. So if you look at them separately, Klein was cheaper in both.
They're reputable. They're a good company. Jeff, do you recommend Klein?
Yes.
We,
I like Freddie's work. He's very meticulous in what he does.
Is there any reason not to award it to him, Jeff?
Actually, I think that's cheaper than what he quoted last year, to be honest with you.
Must want the shop.
it's 20,255 altogether if you add the two.
Anything over
Oh, right,
20,000?
right.
If you break it down into two separate things.
You can't.
You can't.
Nope. It's one service, one job.
Well, there's nothing we can do with it, then we gotta put together a bid to send out.
Yep.
So, good thing we're stuck with it.
I know.
We got a
Can
bid.
you work up a bid package for us? And if you need the specific, do you have copies of these that you can take the specifics? Okay. I will get you copies. Rick's gonna get you copies and we'll work with you to get it written out.
Right, when you wanna word it.
Yeah.
Same buildings, service.
Sure don't, I packed the bids out of my hand.
You are so awesome. Okay. So that will have to go up for bid. And the other one is the, sprinkler system in Station 2. And we still only had the 2 quotes, right? We never,
No, we got three.
No,
we
we got
did-
We got the 3, yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, it's stuck together. Yeah, that's right, 'cause the one is so incredibly low.
I went through all three of them, kind of compared this one is so low. He pretty much doing everything everybody else is doing and what the spec called for. So I didn't do the microscope. I did the best I could.
And do you know this company at all, this,
This is the one our member, we had a member here, he used to work, works for them.
the M&S Fire Protection? Okay.
We have the number 1 ad, if needed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't suppose we have any idea on
No.
what kind of time that would take,
And
because he
then-
put $95 an hour,
Yeah.
but he didn't put an approximate time if he has to replace those
It's
45 dry pendants.
Yeah.
So I took his bid and I took the 162 per pendant times 45, which is about $7,300. And I don't know, time-wise, it's like 25 hours to stay underneath the low bid. If you take his bid, this extra work, and then factor in the hours to still stay under this 19.4, I just don't know how many hours, if he had to replace all those, if it was gonna be 2 days, 3 days a week. So it's kind of a roll in the dice. But he's definitely low bidder. Even adding that in, came to 17,015 plus the labor.
And he did prevailing wage? Was it state? And just,
I don't think it says any, he was aware that it had to be prevailing
He
wage,
just
right?
wanted, so he said he was union wage, so I don't know if that's
Which means it prevailing.
prevailing wage in some cases. I'm looking up union wage and prevailing wage were pretty much the same, they're pretty damn close.
The reality is he was aware. We made it aware
I
that,
called him, I specifically called him, and he says, no, I'm union wage, it's, okay.
well, we've done our due diligence, right? Is there any reason, in your opinion, there's to not award this?
Looking through these, unless you want somebody else to have.
No, three's enough.
To look, or somebody that I'm not a sprinkler person, so I don't know. Unless you want somebody to go line by line. I don't want the other two saying, well, he didn't, must not have did it, that's quite the difference to me, but.
Because it's under 20, we don't go off of it, right?
correct, all 3 quotes are under 20,000.
To me, if there's no visible reason not to award it, I don't know how we can not.
Looking at what each one's doing, he has the same thing in there, so.
Yeah, I read through all 3 and it seemed like they referenced the same
You know,
stuff.
that he's putting a hatchway in, the other two are putting a new hatchway in, putting the plywood down, they all of them said that they do all the plywood. You know, changing the part, everything seems to me. They have the exclusions, he won't do fire watch, obviously the system's gotta be shut down. I can't see where anything. He's not gonna do the work. Other than the dry pendants, maybe you put that in there not knowing.
The high end, we're still under.
Right.
And he's still low bid, so. You told him out, Jeff, Rick.
I got $17,015 plus labor if he has to do the pendant replacement. motion that we award the sprinkler bid to M&S Fire Protection LLC.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Tony,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Casey.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes, I did find the floor tile for Lysander's kitchen floor. Should be in this week, they ordered it last week. He said it'd take a week to get. Also the AC units, I talked to Fred last week. He's gonna try to do it Thursday, just kinda wait for the weather thing, so, hopefully Thursday. He's also gonna look at the split unit at Bevo Station 2 in the radio room. He thinks it's crooked, that's why it leaks. I thought he did it last year, but he never did it, so I'm gonna have him look at that so I can fix the wall.
Just be quiet a minute.
Minor interruption.
Kevin, can you shut that door?
I think that's it.
Has anybody asked you to look at those drains on the
Yes.
parking lot?
Yeah.
Do you have a plan to where they're sinking?
I think the problem was that the basin itself, the concrete structure was set too high, and I haven't really looked at them yet. We'll kind of wait for the weather to get a little better.
No, I get that. I just wanna make sure it's on the radar.
Yes.
What do we do, just cut around it and
I
cement it?
don't know, because most of the time, we brick ours up at work, and, I need to take a brick out. I don't know. I'll have to pull the grate off and look at it.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Nope, thanks.
Wayne?
The only amendment to the RTP is that the portable radio batteries were approved at the workshop. So,
Oh, sorry. That's right, we did.
it's all right. So the actual total of all the RTPs current is $4,203.40. So the only other RTP that was added was for the request that John gave me there for the office chairs to be stored and some lanyards.
Sorry, can you repeat that total again, 4,203.43?
40.
Anybody have any questions, any concerns, any?
I don't. If not, I'll make a motion to go forward with RTPs 1612, 1613, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 16, 19 for $4,203.40.
There's a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The only other thing is I did not work with getting the blast chamber up on the website, only because Hopper has a line on somebody that's interested in it at this point, and if that falls through, then at that point I'll put it on the auction. Figure out, just wait and see what happens.
Yes, I talked to the guy 3 times now, and he's not responded back very clear on why. So my recommendation is move on.
Okay. All right, then I will work on getting that on the website, so we can get rid of it.
I don't have anything just yet. I did meet with Chris last week, but I'm not ready to put anything out there yet. We got to formulate ideas from our meeting and bring it back to you.
Safety.
Yeah, I think a couple things. No work-related injuries or illnesses in the last month. That's good. Past training, remember, updates, status updates are being sent out. Also on the sexual harassment prevention program. Seeing good behaviors, no speed reading this time through, some other issues that we're going to cover moving forward as far as timing goes with the program. Breathing air compressor, the only other thing I wanted to report, we had a low oil pressure alarm. It was properly and promptly reported. It was checked out on Monday morning. Nothing was found. It couldn't be recreated. So the machine's back in full service. No issue. Safety committee, still working with safety or station inspections, continuing with that. And also we've got a PPE training coming up, Morris Corner Station 2 on the 18th. Wayne and our safety committee has been invited to that, so we can get up on the latest and greatest of the inspections that are changing, ever changing in equipment. Comment to Jeff, nice job with the floors and the utility rooms, getting them marked out, especially our PESH requirements for storing in front of panels and outlet panels and boxes. So did a good job, Jeff. Keep it up. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, if you don't, I'm set.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's for Hop or John, but are we reviewing the gear wash usage to make sure people are washing their gear? And at least emailing reminders out that if they're not, they need to be?
I assigned it to the captains, but I'll follow up with them.
Okay. Just because I know I washed mine, it's probably, what, 4 months, Wayne? 4 or 5 months since we've had it. So everybody should at least put one run through it by now.
Right.
And if they're not, we need to
How
remind
many
them
are
they need to
missing,
be.
being trained on that? I know it was a great turnout.
Majority. I mean, basically, outside of not counting Lakeside, we probably had 20 people. And since we've had it up and running, I've only had to pull one sheet that was filled. So, and half of that wasn't even our gear. There is still the issue, the missing plates for the dryer. I mean, there's 4 plates that are missing. I don't know.
Where do they go?
I don't know. I've looked all over the place. There's no place to hide them. So the problem is it's going to knock down the efficiency of that dryer. If it's not filled with gear, I mean, they're there for a reason. No, I looked on top. I thought maybe they set it up and it fell in there, but there's a cover on there. So.
Duct tape them on? I mean,
Well, the problem is that they have to pull them out if they're putting gear on it, and if they're not putting gear on it, they have to put the plates on. But I don't know where they went. I mean, there's 6 plates and there's 2 left. So, I mean,
do
it's,
you wanna,
We've looked around to
Get
make
a
sure they didn't
price
put them
and-
on top and stuff.
yeah, I've looked all over, so. I've even checked eBay to see if they're on there.
Okay.
You mentioned there's like much
Thank you.
demand for it.
Just to comment on the PPE inspections, that's going to be one of the challenges that's going to be looked at by the safety committee. As far as getting on the stations, doing inspections, they'll know what to look for, along with Wayne. Wayne will have that information and knowledge as well. So they'll know what to look for when we're out there in the field, or in the stations when we go out and do routine or spot inspections to make sure we're in compliance. So we'll pick up part of that responsibility over time here in the short period. That's it.
Chief's comments?
I apologize for the February monthly report. I've been sick this week, so I didn't get a chance to print it out. I'll make sure it's included in the meeting minutes. No, when those are distributed. Belgian Cold Springs would like to get out of the grant sponsorship for the fire EMS program at the high school. They need a sponsor in order to continue to get the grant. Kevin Burler is heading up the program at the school now. Chris, if you're interested, I'd like us to move over to sponsor that program. It's an excellent program. We've had quite a few of our juniors and Rams go through that are even now firefighters, and I just think it'd be a valuable resource to lose, especially if it's just sponsoring the grant. So So with your permission, I'd like to move forward with that. I have the grant information, and we'll sit down, Kevin, Chris, and we'll go over that stuff. I don't think it should be anything that we have to pay anybody to go through and do for us. And Belgium has offered to give us what they've written in the grant previous years. So it should be just changing the names at this point.
Can look at it.
There's gonna be out-of-district live fire training on March 25th at the Clay Tower. It's a mutual aid training with Liverpool Fire Department. We're gonna be sending one engine crew at this time. If there's gonna be additional engine crew, I'll let you know. And then I got just some dates to announce to you that we're gonna be sending a vehicle out of district for class training. PSCIM on 3/9, 3/11, 3/16, 3/18, PSCIM OCC. And then this Saturday, 3/14, 3 members are going to West Monroe for a wilderness search and rescue class. And then the last one is on March 30th for 1403 Southwood. That is all the report I have for you this evening.
Any plan on them using the spare Explorer?
I have a question, John. You're using the Clay Tower, do we need a certificate of liability for them?
I'll get one. They did not request it, but if I could
They
get one
didn't
from.
request it? I know they've had one before.
But I think that was for last year. I don't think we've been there this year yet, so.
No,
If we could get one for this year, we'll give it to them to have on file.
I will get them one.
Thank you.
Chief, do you know if the pumps are back in service? You sent an email that they were out.
School? Oh,
Yeah,
yes. They are back in service. It was out of fuel. They did refill them. Wayne's working on the new PIN numbers, but I still haven't heard anything on when they're gonna transition those pumps.
It's not running up and running yet.
Yeah, because they were still working on the fire suppression system. It's mandatory to be put in service last I knew.
Okay, thank you.
Wayne, are you working with Dana on that over there?
Yeah.
So if you're already working with him, if he'll just let you know when he finds out a date, I mean, when they're gonna transition, that'd be great.
Meeting's probably going to be,
Whoever's conversing with Dana, could you please make sure that he'll let us know?
yeah, I'm doing all the prep work.
Alright, nominations and resignations. We have Jeffrey Priester, resigning from Baldwinsville. We have no new members in either Baldwinsville or Lysander, and no changes in status to either Baldwinsville or Lysander, and no new membership for Lysander, so that's everyone I had. Old business, Baldwinsville Station 3 update. I don't really have a ton to report on it. They're working on it. If you drive by, you can see they kind of plastic the top, the front face of it. They've taken some stuff down. They're mostly working inside right now, so I don't really have a ton to report on it. Roof is supposed to be going in this week or next week, weather dependent. I'm hoping that since we're gonna have the next few days, they're supposed to be nice, maybe they'll get the roof on. But that's about it for right now, unless somebody has any questions. Don't really have anything major to report.
Becky, did they get more pictures so we can post up the, remember, maybe put it on the website?
I have pictures. I mean, it's not interior, it's all exterior, but
Well, I don't know if you guys are going inside to look at it with the contractors or not, if the contractors can snap some pictures. I think just progress to post for the members.
so I know that's a really great idea, but don't wanna put that on the contractors to be like worrying about
I know,
snapping poster
I know
pictures
you're
and
worried
stuff.
about safety, so if we're going inside, that's why you don't want it to happen.
We did ask them if we could do a walkthrough, and they are going to set something up for us, but because of where they are in the process, they don't wanna do it until April, after the floors are done. So once the floors are done, they'll set up a walkthrough with us and allow us to take a small group in and see. And
Whatever
we can-
pictures you have of the outside though, if we could.
Yeah, I can send them to
We'll
you.
post those up and, so at least they can see some progress moving forward.
Yeah, I can send them to you. Yeah, I drive by and, I don't know, snap pictures like every other week, just to kind of keep but really hasn't changed much in the past. Other than the plastic sheets kind of moved across the front of the building. But yeah, I can send them to you. Any other old business?
Is that where we can, is that where the,
You can, wait, I can do this.
okay, so we went to bid for the lighting package for the third baffle. Were the dates due today, do you recall?
The last thing I heard was we didn't have to go to bid.
Well, but we did send them out and we should at least,
Yeah, but nothing came back.
okay,
Nothing came back. Okay.
that's what I kind of thought. So we have to talk about that, but I don't know where we're at. Nothing's ordered. Everything that I'm finding out is the delivery time that EVS mentioned 6 to 8 weeks for most components. That's pretty accurate through the Whalen rep, and then through a third-party warehouse that where sometimes manufacturers buy things. So delivery time, we're not going to gain anywhere. So what I think, and I don't have a black and white answer right now, or even a strong recommendation, but we haven't done anything for the third vehicle yet. I think there's some pretty intense discussions that we should have, and we should meet with the Whalen rep. There's a lack of trust I have right now with some things. I'm not sure what the right answer is. John's helped me and been involved in this with EVS. What's your thought?
On the bid specifically, one thing I can tell you is I would not recommend purchasing another one of the rear organizers. At least that exact component number.
Well, it's good you brought that up. I took the one out of the Ford that was totaled. So my intent is we're gonna have to spend some time to see if that will work. That was brand new.
Even the one in Chief Natoli's current vehicle would be able to transition over there as well. So that would be a significant savings of approximately $100
Yeah.
simply for that. And that one being a stock unit, while it fits width-wise perfectly in the Tahoe, unfortunately, depth-wise, it's about 8 or 10 inches short. So you can use a void behind the unit or a gap in the front of the unit.
So it's evident, commissioners, that I don't have a recommendation to make yet. Would you guys be opposed if John and I work together on this, then come back with a recommendation as soon as possible?
I think we could have it by the workshop, don't you?
Absolutely, I'm hoping quicker than that, but absolutely by the work. At this point, I think we can save us some money.
I think we need to save us some money.
Okay, so if you're not opposed, at this point, I think that's the right thing to do. All right, we'll do that if everybody's good with it.
All right, so basically, we did send the bid package out and we didn't receive any back, okay. Any other old business? All right, so moving on to new business. NorthWest Fire District Unification.
So that's the one I asked Megan to add. It's been brought up, mentioned, discussed thousands of times that when we created one district, we were supposed to work a lot better together. There's still this currently sitting out there, Fallsville versus Lysander, on gear, on trucks, stations, everything. I've seen on a few times on, I believe, the workshop, one of the things is station signage. This keeps being brought up. I'd like to hear some, pros and cons of moving forward with renaming stations, often NorthWest Fire, no more Balmsville, Lysander stations, as well as all equipment and gear and everything coming in, everything from now coming in labeled as NorthWest Fire. Any comments from?
Well, I mean, I think that we've talked about that, and started taking steps moving in that direction, like with the chief's vehicles that we've gotten, we've just done them Northwest. But we're not gonna be able to go out and just rebrand everything. I mean, if you're talking like, hey, we're gonna go out and buy 10 sets of gear, maybe we relabel those 10 sets of gear, that's one
Yes.
thing, okay.
I mean.
I'm like, we're not gonna be able to
No,
go
no,
through.
I mean everything anything new coming forward, not try to relabel everything, that'd be pretty expensive. And then finally going forward with, getting some signs quoted and stuff, but changing the names of the stations to Northwest Fire District.
Oh, we actually have that. I don't know how old it is now, probably a couple years.
2017.
Yeah, I said a couple years.
I think part of the
I still
state-
have it here someplace.
Some of it, I
somewhere.
See, I'm actually a supporter of that. We got approximately 10 sets of gear coming in the future. I would say within the next few months after we award it. We got a new truck coming in June, July timeframe, hopefully June, but I believe July. It's one of those deals that we talk to the membership, a majority of them, and myself as a fireman included, don't want to let go with what I know. You know what I mean? I'm a Baldwinsville fireman, but I'm a Northwest Fire District Commissioner. The Lysander firemen or Lysander firemen that are under the banner of the Northwest Fire District. So I think that there are some things that we don't want to let go on that side. But as an example, and it's a pet peeve of mine, badges, our chiefs and accepted by, they are elected by the membership of each company, and we're not taking that away, but we approve them as the Northwest Fire District personnel or employees, unpaid, we don't make any money. So I guess where I'm going at is moving forward, I believe in that. Do I wanna run out and be blasted down our throats, we gotta relabel everything? No, that's not what I'm interested in, but as we move forward, at what point do you do that? Okay, if we buy these 10 sets of gear, and this is a good analogy, and you label them 5 Baldwinsville, 5 Lysander, at what point, is it a year from now that you talk to everybody and get their opinion that you wanna change now? Or we buy this truck, or we say the next truck, where does that come into play? Because the residents should only have to pay for it once and not twice. And when do we do that? That's the, I know I talked to Chief Rosique, and I will not speak for Chief Rosique. We have a difference of opinion, and I respect that opinion. But at what point do we take that initial step? Because there's going to be people within our organization that are not gonna be happy. But my conscience says, they voted on the fire district, they voted on us, they voted to spend their money wisely, and they voted on it to spend the money wisely once. I don't wanna make anybody mad, but at some point, that's where I'm at. So I actually support Chris in what he's saying. Timing, I don't know when the best time is, but to keep pushing it off, I don't know if that's the right answer either. So I support your program and your thought process.
Well, we've talked about for 6 years, we've been, forgive the analogy, stuck in purgatory. Because we haven't moved fully forward, and we've kind of stayed the way we are. And we've heard from members that they want us to move forward. A lot of people say some of the problems we're having between the two are because you still have two different sides. If we take the label away and we create one label, maybe those problems go away, because it's not this and this, we're all one.
It's definitely gonna be a struggle at first. There's gonna be members that don't want it, but you're probably gonna have the exact same members that don't want it if we push it off another 6 years. I don't think that's ever gonna,
But the
change.
longer we push it off, the more we continue to struggle with our operation.
There's never gonna be a good time to put that first step down.
Well, the first step is the chief's policy case.
Right,
This
but
is
I'm
the
just saying,
second.
with this whole thing, you're never gonna put it in place if you don't just do it now. We've been doing it God, when I was district chief,
Drip, drip,
trying to
drip.
figure it out. It's not gonna work. You gotta pull the Band-Aid off, and just like all the qualifications that we had to fight for, I don't know how long when we first started. Pull the Band-Aid off and do it now, and end of story. You can't wait, because it's just gonna keep lingering. So you start with this set of gear, Northwest Fire District, the truck, Northwest Fire District. As of, say, April 1st, this is how we're gonna do it.
You know, another thing that goes along with this, we had, during our, meeting that we had, we called it the moving forward meeting or whatever. We had talked to County Coordinator Jerry Payne, looking to find out how do we, does it make sense, is it viable to get, you know, a new FDID number. One of the things that came up last night at a meeting that I went to was, if you look on like some of our fire control stuff, 34003 is still larger than life when Ballinsville gets activated. Lysander gets activated, it's 34031. It's not 27. So we're still in the middle of that. That's still a problem that we have to fix. Because that's, I mean, when we put it together, when this started, we had some advice based off of the past fire coordinator. But I learned stuff last night, honestly, that didn't make sense to me, how we became.
Even if you change the FDID number, the number out of fire control is not gonna change. It's still gonna be 34003, and we've been 34031 since the day I joined Lysander.
Well, say with Ballinsville, so there's
The 34027 is just a statewide number.
Training ID number.
It's a training ID number. So the county doesn't observe it anyway, other than 34027 tells them,
Yeah.
it's, you know, stuff.
So that's relevant to this, but at some point, we need to make a decision that says, okay, tomorrow's, what time is it? We're spending money. That's my conscience. We're spending money. We're spending 20 grand on turnout gear and 535,000 in June on fire district property. We should do it once. My conscience is clean when I say that. We don't need to circle around that. I think we're
It makes
there.
common sense to put Northwest Fire District on the gear. Ask Wayne. Because now you got Lysander guys in Ballinsville gear.
Without question, it's good point. I think we're there, and I would like to move forward with it. As things come in and it makes sense, it's a Northwest Fire District. Northwest Fire District is the focal point. There wants to be a little Lysander patch on the new Lysander truck someday, so be it. But the focal point needs to be the fire district now. We're there.
I think if you do that and you put the little sticker on the truck, I think it'll make the guys happy. I think that's all they're looking for, is to hold on to the
It's
little
everybody.
fire.
We all love our companies that we joined. So, Becky, what do you think?
I have been in favor of changing the name since I became a commissioner back in 2014. We don't want to upset anybody, so we didn't do anything. So I am 100% forward in changing stuff as we go forward.
So can we make this official?
If there's no, we just do it. If there's nothing that.
We need
Doesn't
to-
have to be a motion or anything, no, we just,
Moving forward, when we
That's what
purchase,
we're gonna do.
We will have to amend that bid spec when they come back, because, the way the gear was fitted out, it said Lysander, Ballinsville, correct?
It's
It-
just
it-
lettering, I think
yeah, I was gonna
it's.
say, it's based
like-
off the number of lettering. You
You
get
just-
charged so much
Yeah.
per letter, and,
I think you just gotta figure out what you wanna change it to.
yeah.
Whether it's Northwest, whether it's NWFD, you just gotta figure out what letters you wanna change it to. I don't know how much will fit on the back of that,
Boy, is that
You want
quite
it,
helpful.
huh.
so. Yeah, well, you could also put your
pay
first
for
and
it.
last name too, and it's gonna wrap all the way around your. Okay, any other new business? business? Oh, you had,
Get charged for water.
no? Letter to,
Well,
Nothing
I can just, little bit updated, I've been, I was contacted, late last week by a lieutenant out of a career department out of Ohio that's in a dilemma regarding a 75-foot piece. The bottom line, I gave him information on ladder 2 and ladder 3, gave him an approximate budget of what we're hoping to get. He's gotta bring it back to his council. I don't have an emotion either way. They've got all the pictures, they've got all of the data, they got everything that they need. I figured I'd give them, till the end of this week, and I'll call them again on Friday. But in city government, they act slower than we do,
Yeah.
so,
but there's potential that we have made.
we got an interested buyer, and that's from a direct, there's no third party where we have to pay a commission. So if we need a little wiggle room, we can. So anyways, that's where I'm at with, that's where I'm at. There's no more or less than that.
Any other business? Casey, anything?
Good.
Okay. Station,
I got a check today for the total chief's vehicle. They gave us $44,000 for it. What I would like to do, because we talked about holding on to the reimbursement for the JAWS to take care of the chief's vehicles, I feel this should take care of it, and then we can put the other reimbursement into the equipment fund as we talked about in the beginning.
I just was waiting for that check to come in. I didn't wanna
It came
cut
today.
ourselves short and
It came
perfect.
today.
Awesome. Alright, station usage, Baldwinsville Station 1, Thursday, March 19th, Wednesday, March 25th, Wednesday, April 1st, Wednesday, April 8th, Thursday, April 16th for Baldwinsville Little League Empire training. Lysander Station 1, Saturday, April 25th for a birthday party. That's it.
Meeting me and Eric talked about the training on the 19th, shouldn't affect it or something, so I need.
Yeah, he said
Yes,
it was in the same.
So we thank you guys for kind of being accommodating. That was a little snafu on our part. We didn't think to tell Megan to block off all the Thursdays because we all just know that Thursdays are taken and we didn't communicate that well to her, so that's on us.
I have an idea that I think that could work. Obviously, we have a system in place regarding communication in property usage. We have a system in place regarding that, okay? The system is anybody contacts our secretary to schedule that. Then she lets them know. With that being said, I was talking with Megan today, and I had asked some questions, and I want to ask them publicly. Does the system that we have in place make sense and work for you?
If I'm informed.
Okay, so my thought is, how do we create this calendar other than, can I pick this up? This is Megan's calendar in which she jots in usage. Where I think we could change this is if we can get permission from the Baldwinsville Fire Department and use the iFire calendar. If she had access to the iFire calendar, anytime somebody calls and says, Megan, I would like the room, she could get onto that calendar and she dumps it right in there. That gives access to every single person within the umbrella that is on that iFire program that can visit. What's that?
Including Lysander?
It can be if. What's that?
Lysander's not on that one.
No, I
They're
don't.
not on shelter.
But my point is, if we can work with Baldwinsville and figure that out,
They're on
they've got emails tied to the I'm responding now, so they've got emails. Is there a way, does it make sense? Could we work it out with Baldwinsville to, I don't know if we can legally pay for the thing or rent the program, but that would cover all of the calendar issues. Every member that needs usage, could call her, she'd look it up immediately and then dump it on there. And then you know,
You just use Red MX.
Gonna say everybody has access to Red MX, both departments.
every member can get into Red MX and look at that.
They can view the calendar if they're allowed to. They can't make changes in the calendar, but they can view the calendar.
Well, then that means there's two ways of doing this other than, because what I expected her, or what people were gonna ask her is, well, can you just go down to firehouse and make a calendar on this wall? Well, we got 5 stations, so do we wanna pay her going to 5 different stations to fill out the calendar? There's gotta be an electronic way that she creates this deal, whether.
I can, and I don't think the electronic way is the problem. I think the problem is people not checking before they agree to do things.
Agreed.
And that's not gonna stop because we throw it on the calendar, and whether it's on iFire or Red MX or wherever it is, people are going to make agreements or people are going to do things, and then, oh, I forgot to tell Megan, or I forgot to, like, the big water class.
Well, but-
Nobody told Megan that we were gonna host a big water class.
Well, last night
So
there was a
it's-
1403 class here that the auxiliary came in that has the usage of the station every single Monday, or I'm sorry, every second Monday. They get here and there's 30 guys here. So somewhere, we all know, right? We all know we gotta contact Megan. But is there an easier way for people, obviously once in a while somebody's gonna make a mistake and just, it happens. But right now, just writing it on a calendar book, and she's, for calendar books at home, and it just seems like there's electronic ways that can find out that anybody can see it. That's all I'm thinking.
You can pick it up on either one.
I mean, the other thing, yeah, I guess I didn't think about the Red MX, because I'm not 100% familiar with that, other than we have it. But I looked on iFire today, just when I was in her office, and I think, right there, that's the first thing pops up when you click on iFire is the calendar. I don't know, it's just something to think about.
You can set up the Red MX calendar so that on the one side you can have trainings, you could have fundraisers. So if it was training, they would have training, and only trainings are gonna show up for them to look at.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna see trainings and breakfast and whatever else is up there.
Just a thought.
It does
I
have the
just think
capability.
We gotta
We just need to keep working.
we gotta work towards this, because we can't have
Do
it.
you have a priority system, say 2 people request the room at the same time? Is there a priority system as to who gets use of the room? Because quite honestly, if we're training or doing something in there, that should take priority, or somebody having a meeting.
Well, you mentioned that, I don't mean to step on your toes, but you mentioned that the auxiliaries had that meeting, just as an example.
I know, but I'm saying
scheduled
they
well out.
request it in advance. I understand that, but I'm saying if 2 people request the room at the same time, for the same date, on approval basis, what gets priority?
He who asked for it first.
Are you talking about an outside group, or are you talking about internal people? Because to me, that has a bearing. If it's our own people, technically, the district ought to take priority over, no offense, an outside group, because we don't get any funds.
Right.
So we need to make sure that if it's training or whatever, that should have priority. That's my opinion.
That's mine as well.
But I didn't know if you were
there was
talking
a
about
policy in place.
two people within the organization that want to use it, or an outside, like training in the umpires.
I would hope that none of our members would request the use of the room on a training night, but not out of umbrella, I guess.
I'm not saying from a personal standpoint, I'm saying for a committee meeting,
Right.
Whatever.
Would it change any once Station 3 is done, when we would have that meeting room over there for a small
There'd be
gathering?
additional, obviously an additional meeting space that's available,
There-
especially for a small group, and that'd be better.
The reality,
Up to
Wayne,
30,
or anybody,
30.
is if you need our space, just gotta contact Megan. And that's what happened here a couple times. Just happened like 3 in
Or one day.
one day. So everybody's blowing up their phone, So, that's all.
Anything else? All right, comments from the public?
I got a couple of questions.
Tom,
Is
I know.
any, pardon?
Oh, ahead.
Has any of the commissioners looked into why we're only getting one bid here or one quote there? What is wrong? Is there nobody wants to sell stuff? Or are they afraid to give us quotes or bid because, I don't know why, they're out there. But I know we had this trouble 6 years ago. All of a sudden, we were getting one bid for this and one bid for that and one quote. We had to go out and talk to the vendors and ask questions why.
If you're referring to the truck one, we did get two, but one didn't show up on time. It was,
Yeah, but still-
it got here too late.
It's not just that, it's, we send out 8, 10 bids, and you get back 2 or 3, and I can't believe that all these companies are making so much money, they don't want to bid. Is it something we're doing wrong, or, the district is doing wrong, or is it just, I don't know. I just thought I'd ask the question, why we have so much trouble getting quotes in that.
Well, I can't speak for every piece of the puzzle, but I do know we're getting ready to send out turnout gear deal, and based off of what we've heard, Morning Pride's bidding on it, Globe's bidding on it, Honeywell's bidding on it, there's 4, John, help me out, who'd you talk to? Duval. So there's 4 or 5, the truck maintenance bid, we sent out to Jerome's, Vandermolen, JPB, Churchville, and Harrop. We sent out 5, and it went to a private firm just looking to compare some numbers out of Auburn that Chris suggested. So it went out to 6 people. And it was actually, you wrote the deal, we used what you wrote for the last one, and that's what we used and had them fill in their numbers. Quite honestly, I don't know what else we can do. I stayed out of it obviously due to the
Just asked a
conflict.
question. that's
No,
all.
you
I'm
asked a
not saying you're
question
not
in
doing
public
your job.
comment.
I just
all
asked
good.
a question.
So, we got 3 bids, 4 bids for plumbing. We got, it's.
Well, that was my other question, is that, are we writing specs wrong? Because it happened when I was a commissioner, that they're all over the place. It doesn't make sense, so.
Like the sprinkler one, I didn't write it, Mark Walker did. He put it together for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Another.
It just makes it difficult for you guys to make a decision.
Well, the parking lot at Lysander Station 1, I'm still baffled and waiting for it to bite us, is how the low bidder came in at, what was it, Jeff?
Because he has his own plant. He has his own asphalt plant.
We
That's why.
figured that out.
Yeah.
But it still makes you wonder, like the average guy, how can one company be at 30,000 and everybody else at 80,000?
Because they have to buy the asphalt.
So,
That's why.
The other thing, we all know it's gotta be NorthWest Fire District. Why can't you on the trucks, the gear's gotta be NorthWest Fire District. You can't have Lysander on there or anything. But on the trucks, you could put a Lysander label on one side and a Ballsville on the other side, so no matter where the truck is. Everybody knows it's gotta happen, but if there's a way you guys can figure out a way to keep that Lysander and Ballsville name still part of the district and not just push it away completely. And one other thing, people gotta watch responding to group emails, because I now have Derek's password to get into his pump usage.
That's Josh.
Josh, I mean. So, you gotta be careful, guys. You gotta start telling the people not hit respond all, because now everybody in the Ballsville Fire District knows Josh is.
Wait till you're acquainted, I'll send you a new one tomorrow.
All right. I'll just make one up and tell you what it is.
Sounds good.
So, I got the answer to one part. What was the price difference between the chief's car that got totaled and the new one we just replaced?
The new one that we just bought was 39,000.
And then the second thing that brings me up is, so you guys are gonna end up dropping 2 chiefs when we do this zone thing, right? 1 overall?
Yeah, there's 6 now, we'll go to 5.
So, with that being said, how often are you guys gonna utilize this car 5 that you guys use? Seeing you guys are gonna drop a Chiefs car.
The policy
Is it
won't
his-
change.
Yeah, there's new
Policy won't change, just so when 2 or more chiefs are out of the district for 3 or more days. That's what the current policy states.
So now, when it goes to zone chiefs, say it's in a Lysander area or in that far end zone, are you gonna dispatch the 2 closest zone chiefs, or how's that working? Or is it just gonna be that one zone chief?
All chiefs have Lysander tones in their pagers, so we are notified when there's a call in Lysander. Currently, we do not respond when there's a medical call in Lysander, but anything above that, all chiefs respond to that area for alarms.
Anybody else?
I have one question. I have no problem moving forward, I have no problem putting in WFD on whatever. My only concern moving forward is the LoSAP and the points. If we go to one entity, how are we gonna get dispatched? Are we looking at doing zone or station dispatching? And if so, is the LoSAP gonna be based on that station's response? I mean, for Baldwinsville, it really doesn't matter, because usually you guys get activated for everything in the village. But if we get activated, if we're gonna all get activated at the same time, that's my concern, is now, instead of having to hit 25 calls a year to be an outstanding member, I now have to hit 100 calls to be an outstanding member, or 150 calls to be an outstanding member, at 1,000+ calls a year. That's my
Any
concern.
change to dispatching at this point?
That's the only thing I'm asking you to look at and consider going forward, going to one tabby, big dysfunctional family.
We've been reviewing zone or station dispatch for a while now. It's not complete by any means, and it's a lot of work. We're looking at internal stuff. Tom is finishing that up in the last part. It just didn't materialize. Fire control, and Steve Salmons, the operations supervisor of fire control, has asked that we try and do it internally before we do it at fire control, because it is a ton of work to get set up, especially if it for some reason doesn't work or is not working the way they set it up. So it's still being investigated and still being looked at, and there's a format, and it's definitely on my to-do list. At this point though, it's below a standardized SOG for the entire district, SOGs. So it's there to be done, but standardizing the SOGs so that we're all on the same page on operations on the fire ground is taking precedent at this time.
Any other questions or comments? All right, we do have a request for actually 2 different executive sessions, so we are going to make a motion to go into an executive session. We will come out of that executive session. We will make a motion to go into the second executive session, come out of that one. There, I believe, will be a decision made in one of them. And then we'll come back and adjourn back into the meeting and then adjourn.
Sorry.
It's okay, say the decision and then we'll adjourn the meeting. So if you guys wanna stick around, you're welcome to. So at this time, I'm gonna make a motion to go into an executive session for an employment matter. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.